Did you know that John Dewey, the esteemed philosopher, was once a humble schoolteacher in a small town in Vermont? Yes, that's right. Our intellectual titan, the man who would later shape American education and philosophy, began his journey in the unassuming town of Burlington, Vermont. Born into a family of modest means, Dewey's early years were far removed from the grandeur of his later life. Dewey's early education was as ordinary as it gets. He attended public school, just like any average American kid. But what set him apart was his insatiable curiosity. He developed a love for reading and an ardent interest in philosophy from a tender age. An interesting tidbit here, Dewey was a late reader, only learning to read at age 9. His struggle with reading, however, didn't deter him. Instead, it sparked his interest in the intricacies of learning, a fascination that would later fuel his career in educational reform. After completing his education, Dewey didn't head straight to the halls of academia. Instead, he chose to become a schoolteacher at a small school in Vermont. This experience was pivotal in shaping Dewey's philosophies. It was in the classroom that he first began to question the traditional methods of education. He observed how rote learning stifled creativity and how the rigid classroom structure did little to foster critical thinking. These observations would later form the foundation of his revolutionary ideas on progressive education. What's also lesser known about Dewey is his strong belief in community. This was largely influenced by his upbringing in Burlington, a tight-knit community where everyone knew everyone else. He carried this sense of community into his philosophies, emphasizing the importance of social interaction in learning. So, the next time you think about John Dewey, remember this. Before he was a renowned philosopher, he was a curious child, a passionate reader, and a humble schoolteacher. It was these early experiences that shaped his revolutionary ideas and set him on a path to reshape American education and philosophy. From these humble beginnings, Dewey was about to embark on a journey that would change the course of American education and philosophy. After his stint as a schoolteacher, Dewey pursued his academic interests, turning towards psychology and philosophy. Leaving the schoolyard behind, he ventured into the hallowed halls of Johns Hopkins University. There, under the tutelage of renowned philosopher George Sylvester Morris, Dewey honed his philosophical skills and began to develop his own unique brand of thought. Dewey was no ordinary student. He wasn't content to simply absorb knowledge. He questioned it, dissected it, and turned it over in his mind until he understood it from all angles. This curiosity and intellectual rigor would come to define his approach to both philosophy and psychology. Following his graduation, Dewey didn't retreat into the ivory tower. Instead, he took up teaching positions at the University of Michigan and later at the University of Chicago. He didn't just want to understand the world, he wanted to shape it. And he believed that education was the key to doing just that. It was during these teaching stints that Dewey's theories really began to take shape. He developed his psychological theory of functionalism, which emphasized the practical applications of mental processes. He also formulated his philosophy of pragmatism, arguing that the value of an idea lies in its practical consequences, not in any abstract or theoretical truth. But Dewey wasn't just a philosopher and psychologist. He was also an ardent advocate for educational reform. He believed that education should be a process of active learning, where students are encouraged to think critically and solve problems. This was a radical departure from the rote memorization and passive learning that characterized much of education at the time. Despite facing criticism from more traditional quarters, Dewey remained steadfast in his beliefs. He saw the potential in every student, the spark of curiosity that could be nurtured into a flame of knowledge. And he dedicated his life to fanning that flame, to creating a system of education that would encourage students to think, to question, and to learn. Thus, Dewey's academic pursuits laid the groundwork for his revolutionary ideas. In the midst of his academic pursuits, Dewey was not immune to personal tragedy. Like all of us, this titan of American thought was human, and his life was not spared from the heartbreak that so often punctuates our existence. In the late 19th century, Dewey found solace in the companionship of his first wife, Alice Chipman. Alice was not just a wife to him, she was a confidant, a collaborator, and a pillar of emotional support. But life, as it often does, had a cruel twist in store for Dewey. Alice fell ill, and in the summer of 1904 she passed away, leaving Dewey and their 6 children in a world of grief. The loss of Alice was a profound blow to Dewey. His world was turned upside down. His once steady life was now rocked by the storm of sorrow. It was during this period of intense grief that Dewey, a man of thought and contemplation, found himself grappling with his mental health. This was a time when the understanding of mental health was far from what it is today, making his struggle all the more challenging. Yet in these dark times, Dewey found a way to channel his pain into his work. His philosophical and psychological writings began to take on a deeper, more introspective tone. He delved into the human condition, examining how tragedy and suffering can shape and influence the mind. His theories began to reflect a profound understanding of the human experience, capturing the intricate dance between sorrow and joy, despair and hope, life and death. His personal tragedy, as heart-wrenching as it was, fueled his academic discourse, giving it a depth and richness that was both enlightening and liberating. It was a testament to his resilience, a testament to his indomitable spirit. Despite his personal struggles, Dewey never ceased to contribute to his field, demonstrating resilience in the face of adversity. His life, marked by both triumph and tragedy, served as a vivid canvas upon which he painted his philosophical and psychological theories, forever shaping the course of American thought. Dewey's theories weren't confined to the academic realm. They were put into practice in the real world. This became evident with the establishment of the Dewey School, an embodiment of his progressive ideas in education. Also known as the Laboratory School of the University of Chicago, it was more than just a place for learning. It was a living experiment, a petri dish for Dewey's educational theories. At the Dewey School, children weren't simply empty vessels waiting to be filled with knowledge. Instead, they were active participants in their own education. Learning wasn't just about memorizing and regurgitating facts, it was about understanding concepts and applying them in the real world. Dewey believed that education should be a process of living and not a preparation for future living. The school itself was a reflection of this philosophy. Classrooms were transformed into dynamic environments, filled with activities and projects that engaged the children's curiosity and fostered their love for learning. The curriculum was flexible, designed to adapt to the students' interests and needs. It was a far cry from the rigid, one-size-fits-all approach that dominated most schools of the time. But the Dewey School wasn't just about changing the way children were taught, it was about changing the way teachers were educated. It became a training ground for teachers, a place where they could learn and apply Dewey's theories. This had a ripple effect, influencing the American educational system and beyond. The Dewey School was not without its challenges. It faced criticism and skepticism from traditionalists who were resistant to change. But despite these hurdles, it persevered, standing as a testament to Dewey's revolutionary ideas. It showed that education could be more than just a transfer of knowledge. It could be an experience that shapes a child's character and prepares them for life. The Dewey School was a testament to Dewey's revolutionary ideas and their ability to transform the educational landscape. It was here that Dewey's theories were given life, proving that education could be a dynamic, engaging and meaningful experience for every child. John Dewey's impact extends far beyond his lifetime. His philosophical and psychological contributions continue to echo through the corridors of academia, shaping the minds of future scholars, thinkers and educators. But Dewey's legacy is not confined to the ivory tower. It permeates every layer of society, influencing how we approach education, learning, and even our day-to-day interactions. Dewey's philosophy of pragmatism, a uniquely American philosophical movement, emphasized the importance of experience and practical action in the pursuit of truth. This philosophy didn't just challenge the status quo, it turned it on its head. Dewey argued that knowledge is not static but fluid, constantly evolving as we engage with the world around us, and engage we did. Dewey's philosophy laid the groundwork for experiential learning, a concept that has become central to modern education. He believed that learning is not a passive process of absorbing information, but an active one, where students interact with their environment, ask questions, and solve problems. This approach has revolutionized our classrooms, encouraging students to take an active role in their education and fostering a lifelong love of learning. But Dewey's influence didn't stop at the classroom door. His ideas about democracy and education as a social process have had a profound impact on society. He championed the notion that education should not merely prepare individuals for personal success, but should equip them with the skills and knowledge to contribute to the betterment of society. This belief continues to shape our educational policies and societal norms. And yet, Dewey's legacy is more than a collection of theories and ideas. It's a mindset, a way of thinking that challenges us to question, to engage, and to learn. It's a legacy that has inspired countless scholars and thinkers, from educators and psychologists to social activists and policymakers. John Dewey, a humble schoolteacher turned philosopher, left an indelible mark on the world, shaping the way we think about education and learning. His legacy continues to challenge and inspire us, reminding us of the power of ideas and the potential of the human mind. And as we wrap up our exploration of John Dewey's life and legacy, let's take a moment to reflect on his profound impact. Dewey's philosophy of education, his belief in the power of experience and practical action, and his emphasis on the value of lifelong learning continue to shape our world. His ideas have inspired educators, psychologists, social activists, and policymakers alike, encouraging us to question, to engage, and to learn. But perhaps most importantly, Dewey's legacy reminds us of the potential within each of us to contribute meaningfully to society. As we navigate through our own lives, may we carry with us Dewey's spirit of curiosity, his passion for learning, and his belief in the power of ideas. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the life and legacy of John Dewey. We hope this exploration has sparked your own curiosity and inspired you to engage more deeply with the world around you. Until our next video, take care of yourself and each other.